It's been 30-some years now, he said, since that New Year's Day. And by now, most everyone there is dead or gone away. But a lot of folks still want to know, so I'll tell my story once, and then I'll ask you to leave me alone. When we left out from Montgomery, it was raining, but it wasn't very cold. The stranger in the back of that car was sipping whiskey and looking kind of old. We slept that night in a hotel room up in Birmingham. Then in the morning we struck out north, heading out of Alabama. I wasn't very old back then, only 17, and I'd never been in a car that drove so good or looked so mean. It was a fishtail ragtop Eldorado with seats of leather hide. It was late December of '52, and we were taking his last ride. On to Fort Payne, then to Chattanooga we drove and drank and sang, and talked about country stars, of one-night stands, of women and honky-tonk bars and bands. We smoked and joked and talked of happy stuff and things that grieved us. And a couple of times I thought I heard him say the name Bocephus. Up around Knoxville it was getting pretty bleak. It was awful cold and snow came down like a sheet. We got on a plane and took off in the snow, and we made good time but couldn't land up in Ohio. So back to Knoxville, where we hired another guy to drive, but he got out while my rider was still alive. From a phone booth in the country, I made a call back home, but the man said, "I'm sorry, son, you gotta keep moving on." It's midnight, he was singing with pain down in his soul. He washed down a pill and grinned, then lit a ready roll. He was sleeping good in Bristol when I covered up his bones, then drove on through the night, feeling like I was all alone. We crossed into West Virginia, and I was driving pretty fast. After a while, a policeman stopped that Cadillac. He wrote me up and chewed me out and threatened me with jail. Then he looked in the back seat and said, "Son, your rider's looking mighty pale." Over the mountains on switchback roads, the trail twisted and twined. I stopped for directions up in Oak Hill, but that was the end of the line. Well, I'd never seen a corpse before, so I really didn't know. But the memories of that night still haunt me as down the years I go. The words of that doctor still ring in my head as he said nonchalantly, "Boy, he's dead." There is no fame and there is no glory for the man who has to tell this story, but there's no place to run and no place to hide for the boy who took Hank on his very last ride.